I object to waiting any longer to play this game! Let's get this started! We're playing more Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. Let's go. Waiting any longer to play this game! What's going on? Oh, I'm not actually in the window. Haha. We're fine. Like, why didn't it start? Would this even be one of my streams if that didn't happen? Oh, come on, computer, you can do this. Okay, so we just finished talking to April May, who gave us absolutely nothing useful. Let's move. Let's go somewhere else. Check out the hotel. September 7th, Gatewater Hotel, room 303. Ah, welcome, sir. Love this guy. Quite the performance today, if I dare say so myself. Thanks. Sorry for putting you on the spot like that. No, not at all, sir. Your efforts today can only help the Gatewater Hotel's rep, as they say. Huh? Rep? Yes, our reputation will swell as the hotel where the murderers used a wiretap. We can charge a premium for the room, of course. It will be great for business, sir. Whoa! Miss May hasn't been charged with murder. I too will become famous. The bellboy who brought the murderer iced coffee. Why do I feel like we're both stuck in the same bad dream? So, you are our honored guest. Please let me know if there's anything I can bring to you. Alright, let's have a little chit-chat about the guy who was with May. I wanted to ask about the man who was with Miss May. Ah, yes. He struck me as a real lady killer, if you'll pardon the expression. I knew it from the moment I saw him, sir. He and I are of the same ilk. We both carry the scent of danger. There we are, in total agreement, Mr. Psycho Bellboy. If you had a photo of that man, I'm quite sure I could identify him. A photo? Ask about Miss May. About Miss May. Oh, her? Sir, not to boast, but I knew the moment I saw her. She'd do it, I said. Do what? I'm starting to think the most suspicious person here is this guy. Could you tell me about this hotel? Absolutely. And on that subject, I have an excellent idea, sir. Currently, this hotel is known as the Gatewater. I propose that we add a subtitle. A subtitle? The Gatewater Hotel, Murder Manor. Well, what do you think? Sounds great. Whatever floats your tea set. Okay, let's check our court record. Do we have a photo of who we think this guy might be? Oh no, those are floor plans. Back! Let's have a poke around, see if there's anything. Huh? There's still a screwdriver stuck in that drawer. Ah, please leave it at the, please leave that as it is, sir. That's the drawer of terror, hiding place of the murderer's wiretap. It's said to become one of the most popular attractions here. This guy's serious. I don't believe it. Nice weather again today. I can see the Fangirl law offices, of course. Ah, yes. We plan to install a telescope in that window, of course. Just $5 will earn you 3 minutes of a view to kill. Just kidding, sir. Oh, by that look in his eyes, I'd say he was more than serious. Alright, I don't want to hang around here any longer. Guess we'll go here. September 7th, Grosberg Law Office. Huh. Looks like Grosberg is out today. Again. Maybe he's avoiding me for some reason? What's that? What's that? What's this? Old photos. There are 2 lying here. Something's been written in pencil on the backs. DL6 incident, Exhibit A. DL6 incident, Exhibit B. Let's take a look at these. Let's get Exhibit A first. I'm sure I've seen this person somewhere. Perhaps I'll borrow this photo. I'm sure no one will miss just one little photo. And it might be a valuable clue. I'll take it for now. A photo lies on the desk. Maybe I should switch it with the one I took? Let's swap photos and see what this one has to say. I think I'll swap them. Photograph added to the court record. Oh, we don't get any info about... Okay. Wait a second. Wasn't there a giant painting hanging on that wall? Yeah. It was a painting of... fishermen. Wasn't it? It wasn't a very memorable painting anyhow. Is that not what it was? It was a guy sitting under a tree. You know what? Hang on. I'm gonna swap the photos again. And... Well, actually, no. I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm gonna go to our offices, see if Maya's there. September 7th, Bay & Co. Law Office. Looks like Forensic is taking the day off today. Detective Gumshoe's nowhere in sight. The police really gave this place a working over. I doubt there are any valuable clues left. Suppose it can't hurt to take a look around, though. Mia's desk. Perfectly clean, as always. The only thing it's missing is... Mia. How about this picture? An old movie poster. Apparently, this was the first movie that made Mia cry when she saw it. I'll have to check it out one of these days. The sky is blue, and so am I. There's that hotel, right across the way. Alright, let's move to... Oh, we can't go to the inner part of the office. Mia's desk. I already saw that. Can I click on these books? No, not the movie poster. Over here, I can't, it's not registering my touch. You couldn't cram more legal books in here even if you wanted to. All the cases that the chief has worked on are filed here. Are some of the files missing? Nah, I'm imagining things. Well, now what? Let's go back here. Nope, okay. Okay, let's go to the Gatewater Hotel, and I'm gonna show this picture, because he said he could identify a picture of the guy, and this is a picture of a guy. Take a look at this photo. That's him, detective. I'm the lawyer. Oh, I know that. I just wanted to say detective once. You know how it is. No, I don't. Without a doubt, that is the man who checked in with Miss April May. How about I write an affidavit swearing that that's him? An affidavit? This guy is way too excited about this. Let's have him write it. Well, sure, why not? Yes! I've always wanted to write an affidavit, sir. From henceforth, I will be known as the bellboy who swore the affidavit. Just hurry up and write it! Cool, we got that in our court record. Not even Miss May can play dumb to this. Okay, and so that's the document. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna get up for a second and close the window because I cracked it earlier because it was getting too hot in here. It was too hot and now it's too cold. Okie dokie, let's go to the detention center and... You again! Can't you take a hint and stay gone? Hey, the only reason I'm back here is because you won't talk to me. Oh, so it's my fault now? You don't just have spiky hair, you also have a spiky heart. That does it. When this case is done, I'm shaving my head. Now, are we gonna be able to get her to talk? About the man who stayed with you in your hotel room. Can you tell me about him? Where is he? I'm not telling. Look, he's being accused of murder. I don't think you want to be protecting him. Would you have sold out the late Miss Fay to the cops? No. See? Damn. Maybe if I had something to get her to talk. Alright. No, wait, wrong button. Present. Take that! Have a look at this. Look, I've said several times I'm not telling you. Where did you? Aha! A reaction. This is him, isn't it? What? Who? When? Why? It is him. This is the man who stayed in your hotel room the night of the murder. No, that's not right. Nice try, Miss Cooperative. Do you have any proof that was him? Yeah, proof. Show me proof. I'm so close. Bam. Take that. Could you have a look at this? What's that? The bellboy's affidavit. It tells us everything he saw, such as the man you checked in with, who was most definitely this guy. Now I'm getting somewhere. Let's push her. This is it. All or nothing. Time to do a little bluff. No use playing dumb, if indeed that's an act. If you don't talk, I'm taking this info to the press. What? Even though he should have been witness to the murder, your little friend was missing. I'm sure the press would have a field day with his reputation. Oh! Fine, I'll talk. You win, lawyer. Yes. Man, that felt good. It's great to be alive. Why are you pumping your fists in the air? Now, tell me about the man you were with. That man? He's my boss. Red White, the president of the information gathering conglomerate, Blue Corp. Red, White, information gathering? Well, I suppose you could call it a detective agency. So this is the man that was with you the night of the murder. I'm scared to talk. I don't want to end up like her. It's okay. I'll just ask Mr. White himself. Can you tell me where Blue Core is located? Mr. Red White, at last. Finally, a lead on this guy. If April May couldn't have done it, that leaves him. Time to take action. Bellboy's affidavit discarded. Here we are. Wow, that painting looks familiar. Is that guy a fisherman? I can't tell. I don't know what it is. September 7th, Blue Corp Incorporated CEO's office. What's with this surreal decor? What's his voice? Welcome! Please furnish me with the title of your personnage. What the? Your name! What's your name? I was just inquirably asking the title that you go by. Wright. Phoenix Wright. Inquirably. Mr. Wright, is it? Right, I see. Splendiferous. Perhaps I have intimidated you with my gigantesque vocabulary. What is this guy's problem? I'm Red White, CEO of Blue Corp. You know, corporate expansion official. My business dealings bring me into contact with the elite of the elite. Though I'm afraid I am not used to conversing with the wordily challenged. What a fruitcake. Let me guess. You are an attorney fresh out of law school, are you not? That's the only explanation for why you would come to meet me like this. What does he mean by that? No matter. So, what business does a mighty lawyer have with a man such as myself? Yikes! This guy's arrogance meter is off the scale. Let's ask about Miss May. Miss May is an employee of Blue Corps, is she not? Correct. She was my secretariat. What a shock it was to hear what she has done. What she has done? You mean the wiretap? Indeed! She is paid to answer the phones. Tapping them is not in her job description. She does gather information for us as part of her duties. But, I assure you, we do not condone illegal methods. It is ineffable. I added too many B's. It is ineffable that she would do this. It sounds like he's trying to turn Miss May into a scapegoat. Let's ask him about the night of the murder. On the night of the murder, were you in April May's hotel room? Who can say? I seldom pay attention to mundane details such as time and place. My motto is, don't worry, be happy. Still, Mr. White, the hotel bellboy has stated on the record that he does not remember you that he does remember you very clearly. No matter. The bellboy can say what he pleases. I still won't talk to you. If you want me to speak, put me on the witness stand. Although, I doubt you'd be capable of doing that. He raises a good question, actually. Why didn't the prosecution call him as a witness? He should have seen the same thing as April May. Oh, ho, ho. The police. The courts. To me, they are merely toys. Playthings for my amusement. Something about the company, and then we'll ask him about the painting. The painting that very obviously came from Grosberg's law office. Ah, excellent question. We buy and sell various kinds of information. We are a company of the future. You might say, we are the future. Sell information? Yeah, who would do that? Who would gather information and metadata and sell it? In this day and age? In just 10 years, I've built this business into the grand office you see now. Ah, in case you were wondering, Blue Corps was named after the color blue. I, Red White of Blue Corp, as founder and CEO, named it so. And why, you ask? Because I like the color blue, of course. Fantabulistic, is it not? Painting. There's something that's been bothering me. Yes? What might that be? That big painting on the wall over there. I've seen it, but when did you get it? I've seen it before. When did you get it? Say, when did you get that painting? No idea. I forgot. I've seen that painting before. Yesterday, in fact. Why do I find that painting here today? Mr. Wrong, was it? Right. It appears you do not fully grasp your position here. I ask again, who are you? A lawyer? No, my feeble friend, a mere lawyer. Worth nothing. Zilch, zippo, nada. Just like that sorry excuse for an attorney, Grody Burger. What? He punched me. Well, Mr. Lawyer, what will you do, eh? Charge me with assault? Charge away, I welcome it. For it is you who will be found guilty. What? Heed my exposition. The police, the courts, they all do my bidding. So you say. But I wonder, Is that kind of control really possible? I don't expect you to understand. It is a world beyond your comprehension. Did that say compensation or comprehension? I think it said compensation. You came here from Grody Burgers, I presume? Mr. Grosberg's? Yes. Then you must ask him, why is it this painting of his hangs here? Perhaps then he will tell you. Perhaps he will explain how a man can live a life purely for personal profit. Go now, skedaddle. There is nothing more to discuss. Alright, let's, do we want to look at the room at all? I don't think there's going to be much interesting here. I mean, we already saw the painting. This is a really creepy desk. I'm guessing this is supposed to be a desk. My, this is quite the thing. Yeah, I don't want to look at this office any longer than I have to. Let's go talk to Grosberg if he's there. Huh? I don't think he's noticed me standing here. Maybe I should clear my throat? Ahem! Jumping Josephats! Oh wait, what's his? His was like a British accent, I think. Oh, you. What's wrong? You look so pensive. Like an old man at the end of his days. I'm not senile yet. I was just thinking about... what's a British accent? I was just thinking about this whole mess. I was, crap, I forgot his accent. I was just thinking about this whole mess. This is just a line that I can't calibrate on. Something's really bothering him. That much is clear. Can we ask about the painting? Today's trial, okay. So you came to see the trial? Yes. Yes, I did. Something was bothering me last night. All last night, you see. Couldn't get a wink of sleep. Really? What was that? Well, you see, it's just... Mia's sister, that poor girl. My boy, I owe you my thanks. Truly. I don't know what I would have done with done if things had gone poorly for the girl. Why did you refuse? I asked before, but why did you refuse her request for defense? I think I have a right to know. A right, Mr. Wright? No. I'm sorry. It's just, I need more time to think about it, my boy. He does seem troubled about something. I'm starting to have a feeling I know what it is. So, I paid Bluecore a visit. Oh? Oh, I see. Mr. Grosberg, I have to admit, something has been bothering me. Oh? What is it? Well, out with it, my boy. You see, it's just... the big painting! Mr. Grosberg, sir. There was a giant painting hanging right there the other day, was there not? The one you said you had no intention of parting with? Well, I saw it today. It was in the CEO's office at Blue Corp. Red White's office. So, you noticed. I suppose I should have guessed you would. It is a large painting. Mr. Grosberg, I know you and Mr. White are connected somehow. Somehow. I don't know why I said somehow. Connected? Connected, you say? Yes! And I know what it is. He's blackmailing you. Probably. Why else would he have the painting? You're lovers! I want to answer that one. It's not something I can claim to understand. But You and Mr. White are lovers, aren't you? What? My boy. You sent that painting to him as a sign of undying love. My boy, please. You're letting your fancies run away with you. Where do you get these bizarre ideas? I don't understand how you could... That's because I'm not. We're not. Don't be ridiculous. Enough. I'll swallow my pride and tell you all. I knew it. They are lovers. I'm so glad I chose that answer. No, we are not lovers. Red White is a man who makes his living through intimidation. Blue Core is a company that excels in finding people's weaknesses, I'm afraid. I've been paying them for 15 years now. 15 years? All because of the DL6 incident, as you may have guessed. The name on the back of those photographs. Didn't Red White say the Blue Core has been started 10 years ago? As you suspected, I could not stand in defense of Maya because of this. White would have destroyed me if I did. So that's the connection. It is hard for me to tell you this, my boy. But arresting Red White will be nigh impossible. Impossible? Why? He has information on everyone. It gives him an iron grip. He owns judges, attorneys, prosecutors, police, and politicians. What? They are bound, unable to do harm to themselves, and therefore to him. Don't look at me like that. What you see is nothing more than the weight of many years. Alright, let's ask about this. What is the DL6 incident? DL6 is nothing more than the sorting code the police gave this case. It was 15 years ago now. I received a request from a medium. A spirit medium. A medium? Her name was Misty Faye. Faye? Indeed. He can read our minds. Because the blue text is us thinking and it's our internal monologue, but he always responds to it. She was Mia's mother. She had been investigating a murder at the bequest of the police. And she failed. As a result, the police called her a fraud. This is what Maya was talking about the other day. I did all I could for her, and in the end, cleared her of wrongdoing. That murder case, however, remains unsolved to this day. That case is the DL6 incident. Reason for blackmail. But why were you blackmailed over this, Mr. Grossberg? The DL6 incident was a top secret at the time. It made sense. The police didn't want people to know they were using a medium. They couldn't let people know. But one person found out. I told him. You told White? He offered me riches. It is an embarrassment to me now. Because I talked, the police were mocked far and wide. In secret, they began looking for the one who sold them out. Of course, White heard about it, and he came to me. Only this time, the offer was blackmail. I see. White controls the law of this country as he sees fit. Thanks for the follow! White I just read that line. Yet, if you would still challenge him, have a close look at Mia's office. Mia's office? She followed his every move for years. She may have recorded something of what she found. Ooh. We got more information. Do we want to show him anything? I don't think any of this will be useful. Alright, let's go back to the office. It's funny, looking at this room. It seems so normal. Hard to imagine a murder took place here. Mr. Grosberg said there would be clues. Maybe I should have another look. Well, we already know that this bookshelf, that's hard to click on because all the cases the chief ever worked on are here. They're in alphabetical order. Let's take a look. Which file should I look at? First set. Let's see if the DL6 is in there. Let's see if there's an A record in this file that catches... Oh, let's see if there's a record in this file that catches my eye. A, B, F. Misty Faye. That's Mia and Maya's mother. Should I take a look? Read it. I have tarnished the Faye name, leaving only these words, my mother vanished. I was determined to find the ones who had made my mother blame herself in this way. Using the power that runs in my family, I held an audience with the dead. Finally, the names of two men surfaced. One was Marvin Grosberg, a lawyer who sold my mother's information for riches. The other was the man who sold that information to the press. This parasite, who makes his fortune on threats and coercion. His name is... The record stops there. So Mia knew Grosberg. Let's have another look. All the cases the chief's ever worked on, blah, 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 blah. They're in alphabetical order. I thought we were going to find the DL6 under those... But if we got to F without finding something under D, then obvious. Nothing much here. Maybe I'll just skim some of this. Well, no harm in flipping through a bit, I guess. The biggest part here. At the end is in S. Suicide? Ew. She has a collection of suicide reports. There's politicians, policemen. There's writing on most of these in pencil. White. This is Mia's handwriting. Wait, I get it! Mia thought he was involved in these suicides. White drove them all to... I can use these newspaper clippings. Let's find the most disturbing one. Newspaper clipping added. Let's have a look at that. Article about a politician's suicide. Word white is written in pencil at the top. Alright, what else can we find here? Shall I check Mia's files once more? Yes. T to Z. Oh, white. W. T-U. I know. W. White. Hell. I just barely beat him to the punch. The entire W section is missing! Was it taken? Okay, I gotta check A to I just one more time. In case there was something else. Check them. I take a look. No. I don't think it has much to do with the current case. I'd be interested to know what it contains, but I'll leave it alone for now. Alright, let's go back. Actually, let's take a save. And... move. To... Let's go talk to Grosberg again. Anything new to say? Nope. Let's show him the newspaper clipping, though. I found this in Mia's file. So, she was investigating Red White, as I expected. Well, if you wanted to to challenge him, you could present this in court. Not a bad idea. Is that it? I'm kind of scared to go back to Blue Core. Let's check the hotel, I guess. The bellboy seems to be out. Huh? The sound of water is coming from the shower. La-di-da, money making, I got the money making blues. Someone seems to enjoy washing the showers. Okay, he wasn't letting me touch this earlier, so maybe we can... A vase, as expected. I'm not good with flower names, except maybe tulips and sunflowers. No, I want to look at the drawer. Jeez, Phoenix. Screwdriver is still stuck in the drawer. I better not touch it. No telling what the bellboy would do to me. A bottle and 2 glasses rest on the table. I better not touch them. No telling what the bellboy would do to me. Okay. Okay, what? Do you have to go back to Blue Core? I don't want to go back! Am I gonna show him the newspaper clippings? He's just gonna knock me up. Well, aren't you persistent? Sorry, but there's something I have to ask you. Mr. Lawyer, I really hate having to repeat myself, but it seems the message has not yet penetrated your thick skull. Stop bothering me. I should say all of his lines with this stupid grin on to get the tone right. If you try my patience further, a nasty incident may occur. Do I make myself clear? Transparent. Doesn't matter, I'm gonna bug you anyways. This is the only clue that Neil... okay. Mr. White. See this? It's an article describing the suicide of a politician. He was embezzling secret government funds. Then, one day, word got leaked to the press. The very next day, he took his own life. And this concerns me how? I found this article in Mia's office. Miss Mia? She had a file filled with articles like this. Every one of them was labeled with a single word. White. Mr. White, I know what you did to this politician. You blackmailed him. You were blackmailing him. Blackmail? Not just him either. You were threatening and coercing hundreds of others. You were involved in all of the suicide cases that Mia investigated. This company is built on blackmail. I'm right, aren't I? What a bizarre accusation. Mr. Wrong. What is it that you should be doing now? Investigating me? No. I think not. You should be searching for the one who killed Miss Mia. Beep. Secretary's office. Hello? Mr. Wrong will be leaving now. Yes, sir. I'll send someone right away. Wait a second. Mr. White. You're right, sure. You are absolutely right. I should be looking for the killer now. And actually, I've done better. I've found him. He's sitting right in front of me. Just what are you insinuating? Mia was onto you. She was keeping tabs. For this reason, you had April May tapping her phone. Then, Mia was murdered, and all the documents about you mysteriously disappeared. So the culprit would be... Even a child could work it out, Mr. White. You did it. Sorry, you did it, not... You did it! Good job! You did it! Beep. Secretary's office? We won't be needing an escort for Mr. Wrong. Instead, please connect me to the public prosecutor's office. Of course, sir. One moment, please. White, that you? What are you doing calling me at a time like this? Hello, Chief Prosecutor. I've changed my mind. I want to testify tomorrow. What's this about? The Mia Fey case. I witnessed the murder, you see. And, thus, as a very important witness, I would like to testify. What? Why now? I thought you said you didn't want to go to court. Quietude! I told you I changed my mind, didn't I? Oh, and one other thing. Send the police over here right away. The man is standing right in front of me. He looks dazed, but could be violent. What? What man? Are you even listening? The executioner, the hatchet man, the liquidator, the killer man. What? Mr. White, this isn't another one of those... Chief Prosecutor, I do not believe you are in a position to freely offer your opinions to me, correct? I'm telling you to send the police now. Beep. Did I not tell you, Mr. Wrong? You are a mere lawyer. As was Miss Mia. How dare you! I'll point the finger at you, and you will be tried as Miss Mia's killer. The case is as good as settled. No lawyer of any worth will defend you. I have friends in the local lawyers' association, you see. You'll be given a lawyer so stupendously inept that they will make even you look competent. I feel faint. Detective Gumshoes, reporting, sir. Ah, Butts! Harry Butts! Right, actually. Phoenix Wright. And my friend's name is Larry. Oh, right. Sorry, pal. Butts was that murderer, right? Detective Gumshoe, I present to you the man who killed Miss Mia Fey. What? Take this despicable human being into custody. Farewell, Mr. Wrong. Oh, snap. September 8th, 3:37 p.m. Detention Center. Visitor's room. So, has Maya actually been declared not guilty yet? Did we actually, or did we just, like, extend the trial? Is she gonna be released on bail or anything because I'm being tried now as the primary suspect? I can't believe it's only been a day since the first trial. I want a cracker. You can wait for me to eat. Okay. My trial begins tomorrow. White's going to set the trap for me. And the prosecution will be in on it, of course. Edgeworth included. An attorney was assigned to me by the state yesterday. I refused. I had an idea. Wright! Mr. Wright! Oh, Maya. Great. They let you out of detention. Just now, yes. It's all thanks to you. Ha. Now I'm afraid we've switched places. What? You mean you? Not a question even scientists can answer. Wait, what question? What question, Garrett? I've explained the situation to Maya. I don't believe it! How many people does that man need to destroy before he's satisfied? My mother? My sister? And now you! This has gone too far! Lol, if she was on on trial still or not. Yes. That's true. I guess she's been released, so I guess she's no longer under suspicion of murder if the finger's been pointed at me. Mr. Wright, please tell me, is there anything I can do? Well, cheer me on in court. Well, you could cheer me on, you could cheer for me in court. Cheer for you? You mean, like a cheerleader? Huh? Yeah, like that. Alright, leave it to me. Huh? I'd better go get a uniform and some pom-poms. But wait! Wait! What? I'm kidding. It was a joke. No way! No, really, I was kidding, but thanks. It's good to know you're on my side. And there really isn't anything you can do for me anyway. But I can't just sit here and do nothing. I've got to give that man a piece of my mind. Just a piece? Ah, my voice cracked. Okay. Then, come to the trial tomorrow. Okay. I'll be there. I'll show them a thing or two. Times may change, yet with crime, it's the same old story. In fact, it's gotten worse. Lengthy court proceedings are no longer realistic. Beginning a few years ago, a limit of 3 days was put on initial court trials. Almost all finish in a day, most with a guilty verdict. I never thought I would end up in the defendant's chair myself. Myself for this case. With the true culprit appearing as the star witness. This is it. Tomorrow, it's me or him. To be continued. Save. And we still have a whole hour left, so we can get this trial started. I can slam my hands on the desk and yell, "Hold it!" September 9, 9:52 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Well, I guess this is it. Yeah. One way or another, this case gets decided today. Ah! Phoenix! Look! It's my boy! It's my boy Edgeworth! Prosecutor Edgeworth. I received a call from the Chief Prosecutor's office yesterday. I was told that whatever Mr. White says today will be the absolute truth. No matter how you try to attack his testimony. If I raise an objection, I have it on good faith that the judge will listen to me. What? What does White have? Does White have the judge in his pocket too? So, you're saying I'm going to be guilty. End of story? I will do anything to get my verdict, Mr. Wright. Anything. Why? Why? How can you torment an innocent person like this? Innocent? How can we know that? The guilty will always lie to avoid being found out. There's no way to tell who is guilty and who is innocent. All that I can hope to do is get every defendant declared guilty. So I make that my policy. Edgeworth, you've changed. Phoenix! You know him? Don't expect any special treatment, Phoenix Wright. I think I'm dropping his voice a little too low. Because his objection is, like, maybe a little bit higher than Phoenix's objection. Phoenix! Well, court will be starting soon. What? But wait! Your defense attorney isn't even here yet. They're not... I'll be defending myself. What? Nani? Okay, let's do this. Oof. Oh wait, no, never mind. The timing of my stream is a little bit behind, but my viewer number just dropped one after I yelled Nani, and I was like, man, someone actually cringed that much that they left my stream. But nah, they wouldn't have been able to see that happen yet. Still, I would understand. September 9th, 10 a.m., District Courtroom number 1. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Phoenix Wright. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, are you sure you're up to doing this? Yes, Your Honor. I will be defending myself. Understood. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. As the details of the event are already quite clear to the court, today we will hear the testimony of a witness to the defendant's crime. I see. The prosecution may call its witness. That went far too smoothly. Why didn't the judge ask Edgeworth why his witness didn't testify before? It's like he already knows why. If anyone's going to raise an objection about this, I suppose it's me. I think I should let it go. I don't want to push my luck. Forget it. I smell a trap. I would like to call Mr. Red White to the stand. That's my Red White impersonation. Please state your full name. You wish to know the title of my personage? Your name? Yes, that is what I said. Oh dear. Do my locutions confuse? Name! These two are great together. My name is Red White, but my friends call me Blanco Nino. Or Nino? I don't know. Blanco Nino. I am the CEO, or to use a more common term, the president of Blue Corp. Did you know the victim, Miss Mia Fey? That would be a negatory. No, I did not. You were at the Gatewater Hotel the night of the murder. Correct. And you witnessed the murder from there? Why tell you what you already know? Very well. Mr. White, you may begin your testimony. If I can't rip this guy's testimony apart, I'm done for. Why do I always feel like that's the edge of the world and I'm the last man standing? I hope you have made your peace with God, Mr. Lawyer. Let him have it, Phoenix! Witness testimony! Let's see. It was about 9, I believe. I was quietly perusifying, that's reading to you, some papers by the window. Then I heard a bedlam coming from the outside. Surprised, I turned to look at the building across the way. It was then that I saw him, a spiky-haired man attacking a woman with long hair. Needless to say, that man was none other than you, Mr. Lawyer. I called Miss May over at once. She, too, was flabbergasted, of course. The victim, she ran away, but you gave chase. Finally, there was a terrible impaction. Then it was all over. If things occurred as you testify, then I'm afraid the defendant is guilty. Very well, defendant. I mean, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Let's see. It was about 9 p.m., I believe. I was quietly perusifying, that's reading to you, some papers by the window. Then I heard a bedlam coming from the outside. I keep on adding the. Surprised, I turned to look at the building across the way. It was then that I saw him, a spiky-haired man attacking a woman with long hair. Needless to say, that man was none other than you, Mr. Lawyer. I called Miss May over at once. She, too, was surprised, of course. The victim, she ran away, but you gave chase. Finally, there was a terrible impaction. Then it was all over. Okay, what evidence do I have? I've got glass shards. I've got the name. I've got the wiretap, the clock, the autopsy report. May testimony. Dodged an attack, then ran to the right, but was caught and then struck. I have a feeling it's going to be that. Okay, but which statement? Let's see. Victim, she ran away, but you gave chase. You called Miss May over. It was then that... I wonder... Okay. Prior to the turn to look at the building across the way. I don't know which one it is. And then I saw him spiky-haired man attacking a woman with long hair. Let's say that man was you. I called Miss May over. The victim ran away, but you gave chase. Finally, there was terrible impaction, and it was all over. Maybe this one paired with the fact that she dodged. I don't know, let's try that. Objection! This evidence clearly— oh no, this means I got it wrong. Clearly reveals contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. Yeah, no. You're wrong. Lose a point. Not at all. Mr. Wright, please think the facts over before making accusations. I don't think that won any points to the judge. Okay, I'm gonna save here, cause I don't know if I'm gonna get— oh my gosh. This is one of those things where it's like, you have to be like, very, like, it's like kind of nitpicky about what, like, what's there. There's— okay, wait, let me check the court record again. Did May say anything? The victim— oh, okay. The weapon, the shards of glass, they'll come in later, I think. Phone, that's not useful. Blunt object. Floor plans. Let's check that. Okay. There's this sort of narrow field of view. I wonder if it's something to do with him hearing the noise. Anyone have any ideas? I can't remember. I played through this before. Heard a bedlam coming from outside. But we don't have anything to prove that there wasn't a noise. What does the autopsy report say again? Died from a blunt object. She doesn't even have a time of death in it. Reading by the window, that part probably— well, we don't have anything to prove that he wasn't reading by the window either. Wait. Do we? Can we prove he wasn't reading by the window? No, because we don't know what his line of sight would have been. I don't think. I heard, surprised, I turned to look at the building across the way. It was then that I saw him, a spiky-haired man attacking a woman with long hair. That man was none other than you, Mr. Lawyer. All dismay over, she too was surprised. Guys, I don't know I don't know what the answer is. She ran away, but you gave chase. There was a terrible impaction, then it was all over. I wonder if the receipt, or the fact that she may have, oh my god, I forgot I can press him. Thank you. Jeez. Can't believe I forgot one of the main mechanics. Thank you, Worthy Soul. On the running away part? Okay. Yeah, because that is the part that would check out or not check out with the Maze account. Can you be a little bit more detailed about that? I think it's worth knowing exactly what happened. Of course, comprende, I understand. The victim was attacked by you and ran to the left. You gave chase and struck her down. Are you sure? As you know, I am always abso-positively perfect. Perhaps you could change your testimony to reflect this new detail. The victim ran to the left, and you gave chase. Present! Can't believe I forgot you could press the... I feel so stupid. Present! Objection! Wait right there! Mr. White, you've dug your own grave. Do we know who Worthy Soul is? Do I know you in real life? What is this? You said the victim ran to the left, but that directly contradicts Miss May's testimony. She clearly stated that the victim ran right. Well, no, only I know the true identity. Oh, it is simple. You have misheard her. I think not. Look at the floor plans. The killer was here, and the victim here. If the victim ran to the left, as you claim she did, she would have been running directly away from the door. She would have been running into a dead end. Don't you find that odd? That's a good face. Let's just wait here for a minute. Very strange. Oh, he's not smiling anymore. I did see her go to the left. I did. Phoenix, look at his face. I don't think he's lying about this one. True. Maybe he really did see the victim run left. So, did he witness the killing? Wait a second. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Miss May says right, and Mr. White says left. Can you explain this contradiction to the court? They're both right, because they saw it from opposite sides, because he's the murderer! Both witnesses are telling the truth, for once. Ha! I doubt it. Rather, that does not clear up the contradiction. There is one scenario that would explain their the conflicting accounts. What? Obviously, the witness was viewing the crime from the hotel. Or was not viewing the crime from the hotel. I missed a word. Gotta crank up the music. Is it too quiet? It's a little bit jank. Like it's not quite running full speed. So I'll turn it up, but it might be a little bit awful. Just as a heads up. Like a lot of the time it's like objection. Oh, just on your end. Okay, I see. Turning that back down. Don't tell me my audio is broken when your audio is broken, Garrett. Jeez. Mr. Wright, what do you mean? Yes, what do you mean? He was not viewing the crime from the hotel. If he was not in the hotel, where could he have been? I'm sorry, I love the slamming. I love slamming my hands on a desk, but I'm not an angry person, so I have no situation where I would do that in real life. But I love doing that. I should dress as Edgeworth for Halloween or something someday. In the law offices of Fay & Co., of course. More specifically, he was standing here. Time to show the court where Mr. White was standing. Right here. Take that! This is where he was. Oh, let's switch. This is where he was. Look! When the victim ran for the door, if he was watching from this point, to him, it would appear that she ran to the left. Edgeworth is absolutely, not even probably. Ooh, the parrot's a close second. Also, I'm a fan of Lotta Hart. Please, this is no time for jokes and ill taste. That is where the killer was standing. No shite, Sherlock. Order. I will have order. Anyone disturbing the order of this courtroom will be held in contempt. Mr. Wright, what are you suggesting? Rapscallion. Objection! The postulations of the defense are a distortion of the truth, Your Honor. Indeed, they do seem a bit far-fetched. Ho! Ho ho! You provide us with so much entertainment, Mr. Lawyer. What now? He's laughing? The hilarity of the moment made me remember something. It appears I have been unclear, and for this, I apologize. Mr. Your Honor, might I be allowed to testify once more? He says yes. Good luck, but you can't fix a broken testimony, buddy. She ran to the left. It's just a jump to the left, and then a step to the right. Put your hands on your hips, and bring your knees in tight. Okay, I'll stop now. On with the game. Miss May's testimony was correct, as was mine. When you assaulted the girl, she first ran to the left, and then you hit her, savagely. That is what I saw. Next, with the last of her strength, she ran to the right. You chased her, and delivered the final blow. No! One strike! Why would you even say something so stupid as she got hit twice? You can clearly observe blunt trauma wounds on a body. You could have just said he swung and missed. He might say that later, but if he revises it again, but that's such a stupid claim. You see, you hit her twice. Don't you remember, Mr. Lawyer? That does seem to make sense. No, it doesn't! Will you be cross-examining the witness's testimony? You bet I will. I mean, yes, Your Honor. She ran to the left. Mr. White is a flawless intellectual. Miss May's testimony was correct as was mine. When you assaulted the girl, she first ran to the left. and then you hit her, savagely. That is what I saw. Next, with the last of her strength, she ran to the right. You chased her, and delivered the final blow. That is what Miss May saw. You see, you hit her twice. Present! Autopsy report! Go! Objection! Mr. White! The victim died from a single blow. What? What do you have to say to that? Now's my chance to hit him where it counts. Mr. White! Wasn't it you who told this court you were absolutely perfect? That's hard to say. I will refrain from using this phrase from now on. Your Honor, if you could ask the witness for a new testimony.
Objection!
The witness is obviously confused, Your Honor. I would like to request a 10-minute break. Yes. Yes, quite.
Objection!
The witness is confused because he's lying. I emphatically request that there be no break, Your Honor. Yeah! We want justice! We want justice! Don't let him get away with it! Put him behind bars! Give him the sentence! Give him the life sentence! Make him hang! If the witness would care to revise his testimony... The crowd's on my side. No slipping out of this one now, White. Mr. White? Oh. Okay. God, he looks like so much more of a normal human being when he's making the sad face. Well, see, I looked at the other window when I heard the thing fall. Then the next moment, I saw Miss Mia run to the left. The killer, you attacked her, but she dodged. And then she turned and ran for the door. Then you did her in with a single blow. Thwop! Swap indeed. Very well. You may begin the cross-examination. Mr. Your Honor, my stomach, you see, it is hurting. Deal with it. Yeah. Poop on the witness stand if you have to. This is almost over. Well, see, I looked at the other window when I heard that thing. What thing? You heard that thing fall. What exactly was that thing? Huh? Oh, that? The glass light stand. Right. The one that had fallen over at the scene. Phoenix! Doesn't something about that strike you as odd? Yes. Yeah, that is odd. I forgot to do Maya's voice. I'll press further. Mr. White. Huh? What? You're saying you saw the glass light stand? Yes? Then change your testimony to reflect that. Sorry, my bad. Gonna do a quick save. Sorry, I just don't wanna... If it crashes, I don't want to have to backtrack. The witness will revise his testimony. Okay, of course. A light stand was lying on the floor when I looked. Then, the next moment, I saw Ms. Mia run to the left. Okay. The killer, you, attacked her, but she dodged. She turned and ran for the door. Okay. Wait, did he say it was lying on the floor or standing on the floor? Do we present the fact that it's broken or the fact that he couldn't see it? Cause it sure ain't a light stand anymore. Let's just have a look at this. Yeah, because that would be out of view of the window even if it was on the floor. Objection! Mr. White. It was impossible for you to have seen the glass stand. What? Nani? Look at this. These are the floor plans to the scene of the murder. Yes? Oh, sorry. These are the floor plans to the scene of the murder, yes? Correct, Your Honor. Now, look. If you were to look through the window at the office, this is the area you would be able to see. Here. Well, note that the stand is not within the visible area. Well, Mr. White? What do you have to say to that? Huh? Ridiculosity. Mr. White, if you were in the Gatewater Hotel as you claim, you could not have seen the stand before it fell over. In fact, you wouldn't have been able to see it after it fell either. There's no way you could have recognized the broken shards as a glass light stand. So when did you see the stand, Mr. White? It must have been the moment that it fell. And the only place you could have seen that from is inside the Fey law offices. In other words, you were at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. Ah! Oh, I think it happened, guys. He pooped his pants. He said he had a sore stomach. Mr. White? Mr. White. You did it, didn't you? Can't wait for him to get his second wind and start attacking me again. Mr. Your Honor, Miss Mia. Huh. Looks like we're about to get our verdict.
Objection!
Objection! That's far enough, Phoenix Wright. What? I forgot about Edgeworth. Mr. Brown, nice. Mr. White, I think the time has come. Shouldn't you confess your crime now, What? I said you should confess your crime. Ergo, confess that you placed the wiretap. The wiretap? Order! Order! Mr. Edgeworth, explain to the court what you mean by this. Distinguished members of the court, Mr. White is slightly confused. Allow me to explain. I really don't like the way this is going. Headed... I tried to read that too fast. As you know, Mr. White is the CEO of Blue Corp. He ordered his secretary, Miss April May, to tap the law offices of Miss Fay. What does that have to do? Your Honor, sorry. The question is, when was the wiretap placed in the office? And by who? No, you wouldn't... Mr. White, in order to place the wiretap, you entered Miss Fay's office. Am I correct? Correct! You are most correct, Miles. Give me a break! Yes, in order to place the wiretap, I breached the Fay & Co. law offices. That is when I saw that accursed light stand. Now I'm confused. Please explain to the court what all this means, Mr. Edgeworth. Gladly, Your Honor. Mr. Phoenix Wright has made his position quite clear. He is determined that Mr. White knew the glass stand was in the office. He has shown that there was only one time Mr. White could have seen the stand. At the very moment of the murder. Thus, Mr. Wright would like you to believe that Mr. White was the murderer. I see. However, it is a fact that Mr. White has been to that office well before the murder took place. When he went to place the wiretap, he could have seen the glass light stand then. Ergo, Mr. Phoenix Wright's theory is revealed to be baseless conjecture. Mr. Phoenix Wright's theory is revealed for the baseless conjecture it is. Mr. White, you will testify to the court about this wiretapping. Yo, you guys should, when the stream's over, don't leave right now, but you guys should go check out the, it's the Game Maker's Toolkit, I think, has a video about the art of Phoenix Wright, and it's a good watch. You should go watch it. But not right now. Stay in my stream. I feel faint. It was the beginning of September, the week before the murder. I had entered the Fay & Co. law offices. Of course, I had done so to place the wiretap. That is when I saw this glass light stand. So you saw the stand before the night of the incident. And this is how you were able to identify what had fallen over. By the sound. Let's do a save. Correct. That is right. I see. Very well. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine you may cross-examine. God, what am I supposed to do now? Good luck, Phoenix. Wiretapping. I have played the original trilogy, but only those three. I haven't. Oh, and the Professor Layton crossover. Actually, that was the first Phoenix Wright game I technically played because I was real into Professor Layton game. Well, I mean, I still like them, but there just aren't any new ones. Yeah, but just these three. The three in this trilogy, and then the crossover. I haven't played any of the Apollo Justice series. Okay. This is a week before the murder. Okay. Pretty sure this receipt is for the department store receipt with letters written in blood on the back. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's a receipt for the glass stand. I think that was revealed when we first got it. Okay. Week before the murder, I entered the Fangirl law offices. Of course, blah 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 blah. That's what I saw. Damn it! There's nothing to press him on. Oh well. Maybe he's rattled enough that I can bluff something out of him. The Professor Layton Ace Attorney crossover is definitely a little bit weird, but that also might have been because I wasn't familiar with the whole courtroom gimmick, so that part was like especially seemed a bit bizarre. I really liked it. I love the Professor Layton games. Like it's got some really great puzzles, like really good overarching stories. Yeah, it's got good mysteries too. I think the art I preferred before it went 3D was a bit better, but the games are still good once it went 3D. Okay, let's press this. Do you have proof? Miss April May knew the details of Miss Faye's phone conversation. This proves that the wiretap was placed before the murder. Huh, right. I had entered the Fay & Co. law offices. Of course, I had done so to place the wiretap. That is when I saw this glass night. Was it really you that went into the office? Or was it Miss May? Unidentified fingerprints several days old were found in the Fay & Co. law office. Those were obviously Mr. White's. Yeah. And if I know Edgeworth, he's already run a check on them. Now, Mr. White, tell us why you went to the Fay & Co. Yeah. We just have to press him on everything, don't we? And then we're gonna, like, realize that we're stuck and there's gonna be a little scene. Why did you tap Mia's phone? Objection. I know I'm just gonna... I can't do anything! Blue Corps is a detective agency of sorts. We have a responsibility to protect client confidentiality. Why did you notice something as innocuous as a light stand? The light stand was made entirely of glass. It was quite stylish. So I guess it made a lasting impression on me. Such a beautacious thing deserves attention, does it not? That is all. Damn it. There's nothing more for me to press him on. Oh well. Maybe he's rattled enough that I can bluff something out. Oh my god. Do I have to fake something? What do we have on him? We've got the wiretap. At some point he had to take the wiretap back, right? know, let's just try this. Yo! This isn't good. Okay, let's even think. Done so replace the wire cap. Is there any reason to believe he hadn't been there? Was that it? I just had to run through it again? I'm afraid that's as far as you go, Mr. Wright. The time has come for you to admit your defeat. You fought honorably. No more. I can't take this anymore. Mr. Wright, are you giving up? Yes, Your Honor. Phoenix! Aw, Phoenix, over here! I know that voice. Mia? Never give up, Phoenix. Mia? Where am I? The waiting lobby? What happened? Oh, right. I lost the trial. I was hallucinating. Ah, you're finally awake. Ah! Oh man, I hope I can get to the end of this trial in the next, like, 10 minutes, because I have something to do immediately after this. So. Otherwise, it's gonna be left on a cliffhanger! Gak? That's no way to greet an old friend. Phoenix, I want you to look at me. You're... Maya? Didn't you know the Fae women have strong psychic powers? When you accepted your defeat in court, it appeared that that was enough of a shock to awaken Maya's true powers. So, Maya is channeling you? Mia? That's right, I am Maya, but I'm also Mia. Now, I want you to listen to me, Phoenix. Maya never gave up. You can't either. That's what I came here to tell you. So much cleavage. Imagine seeing your boss dressed like that. But... We don't have much time, Phoenix. Now listen. You've already won. Huh? You have that receipt in the court record, right? Oh, yeah. The one you wrote Maya on. Phoenix! White wrote that, not me. So what do I do with it? Look at the front of the receipt. The front? It's a regular receipt. Looks like it's from a famous department store. $1,000. Wow. Big spender. Item. Glass light stand. Date of purchase. September 4. What? September 4? That's right, Phoenix. I bought that stand the day before I was killed. Whoa! Now, what did Mr. White say in his testimony? It was the beginning of September, the week before the murder. Oh, we're so close, baby! He said he saw the stand the week before the murder. There you go. I think the court is about to reconvene. Go do it, Phoenix. You know you're innocent. Now you just have to prove it. Right. Ooh, baby. September 9, 1:16 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 1. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Phoenix Wright. Is the defendant, are you alright, Mr. Wright? Yes. Sorry, Your Honor. I'm fine now. Then, let's start where we left off. Your Honor, there is nothing to go back to. The cross-examination of Mr. White is finished. All that is required now is for you to pass judgment on the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Hold it! Your Honor! Please, give me one more chance. I promise you, this is the last time I'll ask you. In this session, maybe. Or in this trial. But, as Mr. Edgeworth noted, the trial is more or less finished. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have an opinion on this matter? I say, let us give Mr. Phoenix Wright his last chance. Very well. You may begin your cross-examination. Let's go! It was the beginning of September, the week before the murder. No! Receipt. Objection! Look closely at this. See the word Maya written in blood? You're grasping. I think not. Look at the other side of the receipt. The other side? Your Honor, would you tell the court what is written on the other side of that receipt? Well, a glass light stand. And the date of purchase? Why, that's the day before the murder. You see, Mr. White, when you allegedly entered Fangirl law offices at the beginning of September, the stand could not have been there. Well, Mr. White? Can't get out of this one, can you? No. It's impossible. Uh-oh. He's losing it. Well, Your Honor, I understand there must be quite a bit of pressure on you. But I think you'll agree that you can't judge me guilty under these circumstances. Very well. Then that is all for the trial of... Oh, sorry. Then that's all for the trial of...
Objection!
Objection! What's gonna object? Not so fast, Phoenix Wright. Eh? What? No way! No way he can worm his way out of this one. Oh, wait. I forgot. It's Edgeworth. There is a certain thread of logic to the defendant's claims. However, there is no concrete proof that Phoenix Wright is innocent. Ergo, I would like to request one more day before Phoenix Wright is granted his freedom. I need time to make one more inquiry into this matter. Another inquiry? This isn't going to be another one of those updated autopsy reports. This guy just makes up evidence as he pleases. This is bad. I object. Mr. White's guilt is obvious. There is no need to prolong this trial any further. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? If anyone is going to call Mr. White to trial, it would be me, the prosecution. I need a day to ascertain whether these new claims have any basis in factual evidence. I see. Objection denied. What? The completion of the trial of Mr. Phoenix Wright will be postponed until tomorrow. No! There's no telling what will happen if I can't end this now. Edgeworth is sure to come up with, or just make up something. And after Mia showed up to help me and all. Mr. Your Honor, may I go home? Of course. Thank you for your time. Ah! The witness will stay. Okay. We're gonna stop it right here. Cliffhanger. They'll never know what's gonna happen. There's no way you could possibly find out. No way whatsoever. It's not feasible. Alright. See you next week, where we find out how this trial turns out. Hopefully I win.